G'day, and welcome to Mind the People. I'm your host, Elara. I want you to take a moment and just listen. Can you hear it? It's not a sound you'll find in nature. It's that faint, high-pitched hum of a laptop charger working overtime. It's the familiar ping of a notification from your work chat, arriving long after you've had dinner. It's the sound of the modern workplace, a sound that for many of us never really stops. Today, we're talking about a phenomenon that has become an epidemic, a feeling that has become far too common. We're talking about burnout, and more specifically, the baffling disconnect between those of us on the brink of it and the leaders who often seem completely oblivious. I was reading a truly insightful article recently by Mahbub Zaman Ashrafi called The Great Disconnect, and it perfectly articulated this modern crisis. For years, we've glorified this idea of the hustles. We've been told that working longer, harder, and faster is a badge of honor, a shortcut to success. But the glossy sheen is wearing off, and we're waking up to the reality that this isn't a path to productivity, but a direct flight to exhaustion. The real gut-wrenching problem, as the article points out, is that employees are at their breaking point, while leadership remains profoundly blind to the crisis unfolding right under their noses. This really came into focus for me when I read a message from a listener. Let's call her Sarah. She wrote to me saying, "Elara, I truly love my job, but I feel like a ghost of my former self. I work 10-hour days as standard, and then I find myself compulsively checking and answering emails while I'm trying to relax with my family in the evening. My manager praises my commitment and my always-on attitude, but the truth is, I'm constantly anxious, my creativity is gone, and I haven't had a proper deep night's sleep in months. I missed my niece's birthday party last weekend to finish a report. I feel like if I say anything, if I dare to set a boundary, I'll be seen as someone who isn't dedicated enough to the team." Sarah's story is a heartbreaking illustration of what the article calls the human cost. This isn't just about feeling a bit tired. It's about chronic stress that systematically dismantles our well-being. It sparks anxiety and depression. It's linked to serious physical conditions, like cardiovascular disease and a weakened immune system. It's the very definition of burnout, a state of complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion that leaves a person cynical and detached. And beyond the human cost, there's the performance cost. The myth that more hours equal better results is one of the most damaging in the modern economy. A tired mind doesn't innovate. A fatigued employee makes more mistakes. An organization that runs on exhaustion becomes a toxic place where teamwork withers because everyone is too buried to offer support. So if the damage is so clear, why do so many leaders continue to push for this culture of overwork? The article points to a few complex and deeply ingrained reasons, and one of the biggest is survivor bias. Many of today's leaders rose through the ranks by enduring this very system. Their thinking is often, "It worked for me, so this is just what it takes." They are the survivors of a brutal system, blind to the countless talented people who burned out and left the industry entirely. Then there's the fact that leadership is so often judged on flawed metrics. They're focused on short-term, visible results like quarterly profits and sales targets. The real costs of burnout, like high staff turnover, recruitment fees, and a slow, creeping decline in creativity, are hidden, long-term costs that don't appear neatly on a balance sheet. They mistake busyness for business value, creating a leadership bubble where they see data on spreadsheets, not the exhaustion in their team's eyes or the grueling 2-hour commute they endure after leaving the office late. I received another message that shows the other side of this. A manager, let's call him Ben, wrote in. He said, "I'm being squeezed from both ends. I'm under immense pressure from my directors to hit our targets, and the message is always, do more with less. I know my team is tired, I can see it in their faces and in the quality of their work. Last month, a simple mistake from one of my best people, someone who is usually meticulous, cost us a significant amount, and I know it was because he was exhausted. I see my best people quietly updating their online job profiles. I know they're looking to leave. But the pressure from above is just to push harder. I feel like I'm failing my team and failing my bosses, and honestly, I'm burning out myself." Ben's email perfectly captures the cultural inertia the article describes. The phrase, "this is how we've always done it," is so powerful and so dangerous. So how do we break this cycle and bridge this enormous gap? It requires a fundamental, seismic shift in how we define success. It's about moving away from celebrating endurance and starting to reward genuine efficiency. It's about creating a culture that understands that rest is not a weakness, but a critical and non-negotiable component of high performance. For employees like Sarah, it means finding the courage to set boundaries, understanding that your well-being is a prerequisite for good work, not an obstacle to it. For leaders, and for managers like Ben, caught in the middle, the challenge is to look beyond the quarterly report. It's time to lead with empathy, to trust your team to manage their time, and to actively champion a culture where switching off is not just allowed, but is seen as a sign of a smart, sustainable professional. The author makes the powerful closing point that the most successful organizations of the future will not be the ones that work the longest hours. They will be the ones that work the smartest, the ones that finally close the disconnect to build a culture that is both productive and profoundly, beautifully human. Thank you for tuning in to Mind the People. I'm Elara. Look after yourselves and each other out there.